Good morning, everybody. It is Saturday, the 4th of Feb, 2023, 7:36 a.m. And it is a chilly morning this morning. The cool change is starting to come through. I guess I had a few people yesterday make comments about how, well, it's already winter, but it never really was summer here, right? Like, I feel like that's something we can all agree on. I really don't remember what I talked about yesterday morning on this thing. And so I want to roll through maybe how I'm feeling today, which I feel like I can say is different to yesterday, but I'm not 100% sure how I felt yesterday, which is probably a good sign, right? Like, if you don't know how you felt yesterday, it means it wasn't bad, right? But it also means it wasn't great. It's probably just a neutral day. I do remember saying that I was feeling sad, but not like sad, like I was still happy, but like I was allowing myself to be, I guess, emotional when it came to, music, or if I read things, or if I saw videos or anything like that. I wouldn't hide from it. When you like see something, you're like, oh, that's too much. I can't watch that right now. You got to look away. I let it stay, and I let myself feel those feelings. And it's been, I think that's therapeutic. I think that's probably why I don't remember why I felt any way yesterday, because I felt neutral, because I'm allowing those like feelings to be less intense by experiencing them more. But I had a conversation recently with a friend, and she was saying that she wanted to be a better person. And I agree with that, right? Everybody should. We all want to be better people. And so I asked specifically, what does that mean? And for her, the response was to stop using her phone as much, to get out and exercise a little bit, go on walks, and start eating healthier, and putting that time into looking after herself, which surprised me, because I thought that being a better person was your involvement with your relationships to other people. It was more in regard to being a better person to other people. And in a way, we're both right. Because I could have sat there and been like, no, you're not saying the right things. You're saying all these things about yourself. And how are you supposed to be a better person in your relation to other people if you're only ever focusing on yourself? And that is the catch-22, right? The only way that you can love someone else is if you love yourself. The only way that you can love somebody else is if you love yourself. And that doesn't mean being in love with yourself. That means liking who you are. Because if you don't like who you are, then how could anyone else like who you are? And that's not to say that they wouldn't. That's to say that that's your thought process, right? You're going to sit there thinking unconsciously or even subconsciously, every time I call my wife beautiful, and if she didn't love herself, she'd be like, oh, does he really think that? And then that would end up weighing on your mind. And it's probably the downfall for most relationships, is that one or both parties don't really love themselves. And it comes back to that same theme that I've mentioned here before about the mask, and taking that mask off when you get home, and allowing yourself to be yourself, even if it's not who you want to show the world. The only metric you have for whether you're a better person is that you are improving on behaviors that are toxic, not just to others, but to yourself. And I think that's such a potent thing, because I hadn't really considered the work that self-reflection and self-improvement would have, the effect that would have, that work would have on your relationships outside your external relationships, right? Think about it as an internal relationship. You need to have a relationship with you. No judgment, no silly business, like we all have those things that we see and we're like, oh, cringe. When you're like out in public and you see someone like picking their wedgie out, you're like, oh, you poor dude or chick, or you see someone, pull their mask down and sneeze into their hands. Like, what are you fucking doing, And there's like those micro judgments that you have, and there's those like little things that you just automatically think. They're hardwired into you. And you're probably like, oh, I shouldn't think those things because that makes me a bad person. And that's right? But you're not a bad person because you have those thoughts. You're only a bad person if you project those thoughts onto others. Now, there's a fine line between having those thoughts and projecting those thoughts, because you obviously there's you've got the unconscious bias that would be there if you were to if you're picking kids out of if you've got two captains picking teams for their soccer teams, they're like the fat kids and the slow kids are going to go last, right? So there's bias there based on prejudices you've got. But I think by working actively to be okay with who you are, right? Loving yourself as a person and not a thing, right? Is going to be so much more beneficial for you in your relationships externally than if you just tried to be a better person for others. Because a lot of the time, by being a better person for other people, you're neglecting yourself. And there's this weird stigma around how helping yourself is a selfish act, which I don't understand. Like for example, if there's a party, right? You got friends, they're all going out for dinner, and you're, I don't know. Let's use this as an example. I went out for dinner last night with a bunch of like old workmates and new workmates and people I haven't worked with before that worked for the business that I left, and we were all having dinner, and it was meant to be dinner and drinks, but I'm sober, right? And so, would it have been selfish for me to stay at home last night and not go out and hang out? Especially if let's say I had a problem with alcohol, which I don't. I only just stopped drinking on a technicality that I wanna call myself 100% sober, right? It's hard to explain to a lot of people that I'm just sober from weed. If I say I'm sober and I grab a drink, they're gonna be like, "Oh, are you okay?" They're gonna think that I have some issue, right? And so, because a lot of people, at least that I associate with, don't smoke, and would be fucking shocked to find out that I did. Maybe not shocked. That's probably too harsh of a word, but I think it'd shock them to find out how much I did. Anyway, is it selfish of me to not go to something like that? Now, I did go, and I had a lot of fun, and it had nothing to do with that incident specifically, right? But there's a lot of friendship circles that make you feel guilty for working on yourself. Oh, you're not fun anymore. You don't come and hang out. And those people are also not working on themselves. Or they know themselves really, really well, and they are out there sort of trying to spread that peace and positivity. But if that was the case, they wouldn't be making you feel guilty about not attending something. You know? But then there's also the other counter side of that, right? Where if you spend all this time trying to be introspective and trying to work on who you are as a person, it's got to be like active work, right? You can't just read 10 self-help books and be like, yeah, I know all about this. It's got to be applied knowledge. You could learn about how to exercise, but unless you're exercising, you don't know shit, right? You could learn about how to build a car. You could read about it and be like, yeah, I know all the processes, but you don't know what to do, and you don't know the little intricate details of like how much torque to wind up a nut. I don't know. I'm going to sound like a buddy dickhead there because I don't know anything about that. But, you know, you could learn about film writing and screenplays. But if you never write one, you don't know shit. And so in the same vein, you could learn and know all these little quotes and know everything about self-improvement and self-help. But if you're not doing those things and you're not actioning those things and you're not taking those little controls in your life, what are you doing other than spouting shit? And I think you can only lie to other people for so long, right? Because other people will just start to clue onto it. But you can lie to yourself indefinitely. And then you'll always wonder why you're losing the people around you, why people don't want to see you anymore, why no one makes time for you. You'll wonder why it's because your friendship circles are growing at the rate they should be, and your growth has been stunted for whatever reason. Your growth has been stunted, and I think that this is something that I've been working on. It's like a journey, right? Our final destination is the grave. And that's going to sound so macabre, but that's true. Our final destination is the grave. And so it's what we choose to do in between birth and our final destination that that makes our lives special and unique. And so if we're not spending a lot of that time trying to figure out why we think the way we think, what we do. Now, that's individual. I don't have to think about why you think, right? I don't give a fuck how you think or why you think the way you think. That's not my problem. My problem is how I think. And I have transformed many times. You know, I've had many different thought processes. I think it really kickstarted when I realized that my parents didn't know everything, right? And then it sort of, you just learn things, you continue. And I think the best thing to do is doing new things. When was the last time you did something for the first time? I think that's the prompt for today. Maybe if you listen to this, no, it doesn't matter when it was posted. It doesn't matter when you're listening to this. It could be 3 years from now. It could be 10 years from now. I don't know. I'm going to keep this channel up, keep this alive. But I guess this is a call to arms here, a call to action. When was the last time you did something for the first time? And how did it change you? Did it change you? Is there a way that you think now differently than you did before because of that? Or do you? Is it nothing? Is it like skydiving? Actually, because skydiving will give you a different perspective. Being all the way up there and falling towards the earth, that'd be a moment where it'd be surreal. It could be anything. So yeah, let me know. When was the last time you did something for the first time? Also, should I start videoing these? Should I start putting like a little camera up and filming this? Maybe what I'll do is I'll get a better microphone, because when I touch this one, it makes all those noises. Maybe I'll get a better microphone that allows me to hold it, and I'll start doing like a video version of this, and putting just the audio up onto Spotify and having the video on YouTube, which is going to separate them and have them be unique. But maybe I'll look into that after 100 days, because there's 365 of these fuckers coming out. So, yeah. Anyway, so those two things in the comments. Should I video these? And also, what was the other one? When was the last time you did something for the first time? Anyway, enjoy the rest of your days. I know I will. Oh, that sounded like I was saying, yeah, no. Enjoy your day. I mean, also the rest of your days, but like today specifically, because you've just listened to this, enjoy this day.